Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the February 12th meeting of the Oklahoma City Planning Commission. I'd like to call us to order and start with a few housekeeping items. If you have a phone with you, please silence or turn it to off. If you're here to speak on an item and you are not the applicant, please fill out one of the forms available outside and provide it to Elena or Jared down here. When that item is heard, you'll be called to the podium to speak. Please come up, give your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 5 minutes to speak. If you're here to speak on an item with a large group of people, we encourage you to elect a representative to share your group's concerns, and in those instances, some additional time will be considered. Where several speakers on the same item are heard, we just ask that you do your best to limit comments to concerns that we haven't heard yet. We're just trying to limit extensive comments and keep the meeting moving. Please direct all your comments or questions to the commission members, and if necessary, we'll ask the applicant or staff to respond. And then lastly, we appreciate everyone's presence here today and the obligations that you stepped away from, and we just ask for your cooperation in upholding the decorum in the meeting and that you don't speak from the audience. With that, we'll begin with item 2, which is receipt of the minutes from the January 29th meeting.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to receive the minutes for the January 29th, 2026 meeting.
We have a motion from Commissioner Noble to receive the minutes. It's been seconded by Commissioner Powers. Please cast your votes. Are we? Milner? Yeah. He abstained. All right, and the minutes are received. Item 3 is continuance requests. We'll begin with uncontested requests.
Item 15 is case PUD 2125, request to defer to February 26th. Item 16, case SPUD 1794, deferred to February 26th. Item 17, SPUD 1799, defer to February 26th. Item 18, SPUD 1808, defer to February 26th. Item 19, case C7761, defer to March 12th. Item 20, case SP 606, defer to March 12th. And item 21, case C7780 has been withdrawn.
Okay. I'll just confirm that no one's here to be heard on any of those items. All right, seeing none, just need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the uncontested continuance request as read.
We have a motion to approve the new continuance request, or uncontested request. It's been seconded by Commissioner Meek. Please cast your votes. And those are approved. We have no new requests, so we'll move on to the consent docket.
Item 1 is case C7781, final plat of Layton Lakes, Section 1, located north of West Memorial Road and east North Morgan Road.
Let's confirm there's no one here to be heard on that item. Seeing none, we just need a motion for the consent docket.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent docket.
We have a motion from Commissioner Noble to approve the consent docket. It's been seconded by Commissioner Powers. Please cast your votes. The consent docket is approved. Then we'll move on to items to be heard individually, and we'll start with item 2.
Item 2 is case PUD 1563, SPO1, application for a specific plan pursuant to the approval of PUD 1563. This is located at 820 South Council Road.
We have an applicant present.
West 11th Street here on behalf of the applicant who is here with me. So this specific plan is for about 9 acres on the corner of I-40 and South Council Road. It was zoned back in 2015, PUD 1563. It's a proposed racetrack facility. Staff has reviewed the submitted plans as well as the master design statement for that PUD and has deemed it in compliance. We don't have any staff comments, no protest, and we would ask for your approval. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Commissioner Meek, this is your ward, and I do not have anyone signed up to speak.
Okay, great. I agree with staff's recommendations that it meets the PUD 1563. Unless any other commissioners have any comments, I'm ready to make a recommendation to approve.
I don't see any.
All right, I move to approve.
All right. Commissioner Meek moves to approve the item. It's been seconded by Commissioner Powers. Please cast your votes. And that item is approved unanimously. Item 3.
Item 3 is case C7777, preliminary plat of villas at Frisco Road, Ridge, and this is located north of Southwest 15th Street and east of South Frisco Road.
Good afternoon, Mark Grubbs, 1800 South Sarah Road, on behalf of the application. This is a preliminary plat that is, the PUD was just approved on Tuesday. There were actually 3 items modified in the PUD at City Council on Tuesday. One was, we show a 20-foot buffer on the east side of the plat. We were requested to remove that. We were requested to make all the lots on the eastern border of that preliminary plat 70 feet. And then we also agreed to donate land. There's a bond issue for a new fire station in the vicinity of Reno and Frisco. So we agreed to donate fire department land as part of that. And the city has 180 days to accept that land once we actually write a legal description for it. So based on that, we realize that we have to shift that over. One of the TEs is that we have to be in conformance with the PUD. So we will lose that common area on the east. We will make those lots 70 feet. And we will prepare that legal description in short order and get it to the city for acceptance. It makes most sense for that fire station to go up in that northwest corner because the south half of this site is in urban response times already, and they're really needing it closer to Reno and Frisco. So that's where we plan to donate it. With those changes, it'd be minimal of 15, 20 lots, which is not even close to the 20% change that we can have from a preliminary plat. With that said, we agree with T1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. One of those Ts being that we have to be in conformance with the PUD, so I don't think there's any need to add the additional Ts for the deletion of the common area on the east of the 70-foot lots. But I just want to discuss T number 2. It talks about the comprehensive plan amendment. We weren't required to do that at the rezoning stage. Staff told us that we didn't have to do that. The people to the southwest weren't required to do that. They are requesting that we do it at final plat stage. My only request that the city would do a comprehensive plan in this area to do a much larger area, because when we bring utilities here, it's going to open up more area instead of me just doing a comprehensive plan for my 160. So if it's the decision of the Planning Commission for me just to go ahead and do the comprehensive plan for my 160, then I'll be happy to just go ahead and do that. But I think it makes more sense for a comprehensive plan to be done for the area that will be served. With that, be happy to answer any questions. We'd ask for your approval.
Commissioner Meek, again, Ward 3, and I do not have anyone signed up to speak.
Okay, yes, thank you.
So have you discussed with the city this concept that they would do the comprehensive plan rather than you, and what kind of
I
response?
discussed that with staff today.
And how did that go?
They said they didn't have a feeling one way or the other.
I think, yeah, we just became aware of the plan to do a lift station. Initially, we thought this was a kind of a longer term thing, like the development to this, I think it's to the south, the other PUD. So given the fact that there's going to be apparently a lift station going in to support this, and potentially a larger area, that makes sense.
So a public lift station?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're okay with this, at least conceptually speaking?
Yes.
So to make it more clear, you think this is more of a trigger for staff to do a new overlay instead of the applicant?
Yes. My understanding is that the lift station would serve an area, I don't know, roughly twice the size of this particular, so it would make sense for us to kind of take a look at that.
Okay.
Utilities isn't dead certain quite yet exactly how large of the area will be, so we'll be tracking it with them and with the applicant.
Okay, so we can delete TE number 2, correct? Okay.
So if it turns out that that doesn't work out, you're going to be focused on the fact that it has to be done before final plat stage.
If that doesn't work out, then I'll work with staff and I'll submit the comprehensive plan amendment myself at final plat stage with it, if it doesn't work out, but it makes sense for me for the whole area to be done, so I'm fine with working on staff on that, so it's not that much harder on my part. I just was shocked to see it, to be honest, but.
Okay?
Okay,
As long as it gets done, one
Yes.
way or the other.
I agree. Any other commissioners have any comments on this one? I believe that they're within the 20% to be able to make the agreed upon changes before the final plat stage, so if there's no other comments.
So I would leave TE2, and if it gets done by the city, it gets done by the city. If not, it's going to get done by him.
Yeah, it doesn't say who it's required by, it just says it's required, correct? Director Butler, what do you think?
Final plat.
Sorry, say again.
We're going to leave TE2.
Leave TE2, and it doesn't matter who does it, the city or the applicant, is that okay? All right. With that being said, I'd like to make a motion to approve C777.
I have a motion from Commissioner Meek to approve the item.
C77, 4 sevens, yes. Oh,
It's been seconded by Commissioner Powers. Please cast your votes.
How'd you do that? Sorry. Excuse me, everything up. There you go.
And that item is approved. Item 4.
Item 4 is case PC 10995, application to rezone 8 Southeast 59th Street from C3 to R1.
Caitlin Turner, 525 Northwest 11th Street, here on behalf of the applicant. So this site is about 10 acres, seeking to rezone to straight R1. As you can see on the zoning map, we've got R1 across Santa Fe as well as to our northwest. We are in the urban low intensity comp plan designation, so we will be conforming with comprehensive plan guidelines and regulations, as well as all code requirements. Staff recommends approval. We have not received any protest, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner Privet, this is your ward, and I do not have anyone signed up to speak.
Okay. And staff recommends approval. I didn't have any issues with it. If anybody else does? If not, I'll move for approval. Nothing? Okay.
All right, we have a motion,
Move to approve PC 10995.
a motion from Commissioner Privet to approve the item, recommend approval. Second by Commissioner Meek. Please cast your votes.
Thank you.
And that item is recommended for approval. Item 5.
Item 5 is case PUD 2025 SP01, application for a specific plan pursuant to the approval of PUD 2025, located at 14,000 North Bryant Avenue.
Caitlin Turner, 525 Northwest 11th Street, here on behalf of the applicant. So this is, should look familiar to you all. This specific site went through a couple rounds of PUD applications. The current governing PUD, PUD 2025, allows for personal storage within Track 2, which is outlined there, as you can see. We did have staff review and determine that it is compliant, or plans are compliant with that governing master design statement. We did receive some letters of protest from the neighborhood to the east, which we did meet with during the PUD process. A lot of those comments within those letters were really specifically geared towards drainage concerns, configuration, things of that nature, which will ultimately continue to get addressed through permitting that aren't really related to the master design statement. Also point out that the property owner has already submitted for permits and has received the stormwater quality permit, and those are kind of on hold pending this specific plan. So those have been in the process of being reviewed. But again, staff does deem these plans to be compliant with the PUD, no issue there. I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have.
Okay. Commissioner Harrison, this is Ward 7, and I have one signed up to speak.
Okay, we can hear from them first, please.
Okay. Before we do, I just want to kind of remind everyone that this is a specific plan. So the zoning was approved by City Council, so at this stage, we're looking at kind of design details, layout, landscape, more aesthetics. We're not considering, definitely not considering use or density or height. So we want to make sure that we kind of stay on point with those kind of items. Also fencing and tree preservation as part of the specific plan. So, and that'll help us keep moving. We'll hear from William Silk. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm William Silk, a resident of Wellington Park for 31 years, 13905 Plymouth Crossing, member of the Wellington Park HOA Board, licensed architect for 52 years, here with my neighbor, Dr. Tom Goforth. I've submitted written things, marked up plans previously, but I'd like to vary from those if I could today and just take the major points, if I might. First item I'd like to bring to your attention is that the legal description for this tract has changed from what was approved with the PUD. It now shows 5.9 acres. PUD approved it for 5.6. I think that's a significant change. It will become apparent later on why the applicant might have wanted to do that. Second item I would bring to your attention is the detention pond proposed is not on tract 2. It lies on tract 1 and into PUD 1946. It's not entirely on tract 2. Third item I'd like to bring to your attention is that the increase in the square footage has increased from 88,000 to 92,000. And because the legal description changed, I believe you would find that if we looked at Chapter 59, 14250, if the legal description changes, modifications to the PUD are not allowed. So the increased density I would request you to take a look at. Fourth item I'd like you to look at, I would like to pass out some graphics, if I might. I have enough copies here, I believe, to go around. The edge of paving proposed for this project on the east side is actually a retaining wall. And that retaining wall will vary in height from 6 feet near the south end to 8 feet in the middle, and then taper back down to the north. Wellington Park will be looking right at that retaining wall. The retaining wall is probably less than 10 feet from an existing detention pond that we share ownership of. We think that will be pretty ugly to be looking at for perpetuity. The retaining wall is not tall enough to stop a car from falling into the pond or into the stream. So that 6 to 8 foot tall retaining wall would have to be increased 3.5 feet to keep a car from falling over it. That's going to increase the height of that retaining wall that we're looking at. The applicant is showing a fence located there in red. That's a 6 foot tall, site-proof fence. So if the 6 feet goes to 9.5 and then we add a 6 foot tall fence on top of it, that's going to look like Stalag 17 to Wellington Park. If you would look at sheet 2 of the graphics I just handed out, the red line represents the retaining wall, and the yellow arrows indicate where we will view that from. Please stop me if you have any questions.
I do have one question. I mean, there's a significant amount of vegetation and probably grade in that. Are you still thinking that you're going to see that wall through all that existing vegetation and grade change?
Yes, sir. If you will look at the last 2 pages
Okay.
of my handout, you will see that all of the vegetation on the applicant's side of that silt fence has been removed. There's probably less than 10 feet between the silt fence and the water line, and that's at drought conditions right now. After the rain Friday, that water line will probably rise by at least 18 inches to 2 feet. So you can see by those last 2 pictures, there's no trees past that silt fence. They've all been taken down. The Action Center was notified and ODEQ was notified, but they say that that's within his permit to take them all out in the riparian area along a stream. City design guidelines say that you need to stand back 100 feet from a stream. His retaining wall will be probably 20 feet.
You got about 30 seconds left, Mr. Silk.
Okay, am I going?
Yes.
Okay. The applicant is proposing a sidewalk along Bryant as required. We appreciate that, but it's shown 2.5 feet from the curb line, 40-mile-an-hour street through there, so we would request that sidewalk be moved back to 10 feet off of Bryant Avenue. The applicant is showing a single point of ingress. There is very limited amount of parking area, especially for trailers, moving vans, once off the street.
Okay, that is your 5 minutes, so I'm going to ask you to wrap up.
Okay. The very last thing I'd like to point out is that right now there is no flag on the building permits for a drainage study. When PUD 2025 was approved, there were 16 items required by Public Works, including a flood drainage study. This drainage study has not been submitted. The engineering department does not believe one is necessary. They equivocate now to all 16 items. So I would just point out, if those 16 items are not provided, as originally indicated in the PUD for Track 2, they'll probably also be waived for Track 1, which is right next to the FEMA flood zone that I showed you on the first page of my graphic. I think it's inappropriate. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you, Mr. Silk.
Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Silk? Okay, no, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll turn that'll end our public comment, and we'll turn it over to commissioners for discussion. Want to lead the discussion, Commissioner
No
Harrison?
problem. Was wondering if the applicant wanted to speak to any of the concerns that were raised by the neighbor.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first comment about the legal description, so the legal description that was submitted with the PUD application is for both Tract 1 and Tract 2. Again, this is just Tract 2, which fits wholly within that legal description that was originally submitted. So yes, there was the increase in Tract 2 by 0.3 acres to allow for the detention that you see in the northeast, that little carve out. Again, we're just, that piece of it and the retaining wall, everything is to try to keep water away from their pond, away from their property. So that's why that was needed. The actual developable area is not increased, and again, we're within that legal description that was submitted. Regarding the retaining wall, again, necessary to prevent anything from going in towards that pond. There is a silt fence there. As I had referenced, we did receive our stormwater quality permits that both Oklahoma City and DEQ reviewed. So we're complying with what we are required to do there. There is going to be some removal of trees for that reason, again, to ensure that we're complying with the permits that have been received. We do not want to remove anything other than what is absolutely necessary, which is also why you're seeing that placement of the fence, is to, rather than clear cutting trees and putting the fence on the actual PUD boundary line, we're wanting to preserve as much as we can there. The sidewalk location, I think, was the last one. So that location is off Bryant. We are doing the 6-foot sidewalks. There are some drainage constraints because of grading as it goes up to the north, which is why the sidewalk is proposed where it is now within that right of way. So I'd be happy to answer any additional questions that you all have related to this item.
So just the one that I had, I wanted to be clear. So your proposal of where you locate the wall, the retaining wall and the fence, is not on the boundary of the PUD, but on basically the limit of your developable site.
That is correct. And based on the wording in the master design statement, staff has still interpreted that as conforming and complying with the master design statement because we do not reference the PUD boundary. So that is the reason we are seeking to do it on the developed area boundary so that, again, we're not having to clear cut and remove any more trees than we have to and keep all of that foliage and pond and everything just kind of as is to the greatest extent possible.
PUD boundary goes through the pond.
Yeah, the PUD, we couldn't really do a fence on the PUD boundary because of the existing pond.
Do you know what material the retaining wall and or fence on top of the wall is going to be right now?
So the fence is going to be a 6-foot cedar capped fence. The retaining wall is just material for the retaining wall, concrete retaining wall. Yeah. That's
Have
the
you
example.
looked at any other like products other than cast in place concrete, like some of that larger block that looks more natural?
They've looked at a segmented block option too, but we've got utilities behind that wall. You got to stabilize that. You have to stabilize that wall with the geogrid, and you can't interfere between those two. So
There's some products out there where you don't have the geogrid. They're a large
block,
mass,
yeah.
so they don't need the geogrid, but they look better than just a standard concrete wall.
yeah, they've looked at both options, and I think priced both options. So. But I just looked back at the actual owner on that, and he said he's going with concrete. That's what he's planning to do.
Would be willing to consider maybe a stain in the concrete?
Yep, we can look at that, absolutely. No issue there.
The only other item that I heard him speak to and that he's got written in the protest is the fourth major concern. If we could get Mr. Lodge to speak to that, there's no drainage study been submitted. I do understand you can get a building permit without having all of that approved yet, and be allowed to get your stormwater permit as it's separate, but if you could speak to that.
So my response, Mark Grubbs, 1800 South Sarah Road, on behalf of the application. I'll just do a brief. So we located that detention pond up at the northeast corner. There was actually originally a larger area of raw land going into that pond, and we've, taken our improved runoff and put it north of their pond so it's not going directly into their pond. It's not going to affect the existing conditions of the pond and that creek. There's no reason for a flood study because pre and post conditions are the same. And we explained that to Mr. Self. I sent that through David Boxes and responded to him. That's the reason he hasn't received a flood study to date, because we're not putting water in there and increasing that runoff there, so.
Barry Lodge, Public Works. And one further point of clarification on that, pardon me. They have submitted their detention plans and calculations for review and approval, and those plans have been reviewed and approved. I think they were signed off on January 29th, something like that, toward the end of January. So we've reviewed those detention plans. There was one comment made about the pond not being totally on track too, that didn't comply with city ordinances. We don't have an ordinance that requires that. They still are on their own property with all of that, so it doesn't have to, the detention doesn't have to fall within that drainage boundary. As part of their detention calculations, they did consider the water surface elevations in the existing ponds so that water elevation will not affect their detention pond operation. So in our review of it, we have concluded that the detention calculations and plans were in compliance with the city drainage ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Lodge. I don't have any more questions. I'm good.
Anything from anybody else? I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on either staining or applying some color to a plain concrete wall, if that's a concern that neighbors are looking at?
I mean, I don't really have a concern on that. Becomes then a future maintenance problem too. As the concrete gets older, it changes the colors anyways. And there's plenty of vegetation and undergrowth that will continue to grow because there's not gonna be anything maintained back there. So I don't know that they're gonna see a whole lot of that wall.
I also don't know enough about staining concrete to know whether that would be a good idea on, something that's going to come in contact with water. I just don't know whether that's a wise option or not.
Yeah, it'd stay forever. That wouldn't be probably a problem.
Yeah, it wouldn't. Okay.
Is there anything about the specific plan that anyone wants to talk about? The materials, the buildings, the look? I mean, it's all in compliant with the PUD, so, and the
good.
signage.
Yep. I'm good.
If I don't see any other comments and not looking at doing a T regarding the staining, even though the applicant has agreed to, if that were.
Doesn't sound like it's necessary.
Okay. All right, with that being understood, then move approval of PUD 2025 SB01.
A motion from Commissioner Harrison to approve the specific plan. It's been seconded by Commissioner Noble. Please cast your votes. And that item is approved. Item 6.
Item 6 is case PUD 2128, application to rezone 3540 South County Line Road from R1.
Derek Kennedy, 619 Longview Drive, Piedmont, Oklahoma. I'm the applicant. We got 5 acres going from residential to C3. This is an area with a lot of new residential development, but very little services, very little options for the residents. Under Mr. Meek's guidance, I've worked with the 2 neighboring HOAs, the Westbrook Estates and the Kings Ridge West, and worked with those groups over a course of 5 days to remove many uses from this PUD, including multifamily and accommodations and outdoor sales and many, many uses. And in fact, these 2 HOAs expressed the need to have retail, restaurant, and some good commercial uses. So I actually have a letter of support in your packet, and there should maybe even be a couple emails of support in the packet. But this is a compilation of hard work with the neighbors, guidance from Mr. Meek, that we landed on something that we can all live with, and kind of excited to see what we can bring into this community. There's 3 TEs. The first TE I cannot agree to because of the guidance I have for the community. Again, these are the options that the community wanted, which the TE would eliminate those, so I'm a no on the first one. On the second one, I can do a version of that, which is not limited to a single story, but can limit it to a 35-foot max height, which would be the equivalent of a single story, but this way they can do a second story office if needed. And then I can do a yes on the third TE. And happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Meek, this is your ward and no one has signed up to speak.
Yes, I know this is going to blow y'all's mind, but the neighbors around here are very excited about this developing as something commercial. They did not want anything residential, especially no multifamily. They really want, like a garage or a local or a Starbucks or something like that. So with that being said, it was two HOAs working with Mr. Kennedy. I did not have to go to a meeting. They handled everything internally. They kept me on the loop of all the emails. This is kind of an opposite of what you'd expect. And I'm fine with it because it's what the neighbors want. It's barely a PUD. It's like 5.035 acres. I do, on the T number 1, that has all the uses that staff wanted to see gone, and I can read it again later. I want to change T number 1 to keep the removal of the car wash, which is the 8300.36, automobile cleaning and repairs. And the HOAs have done more studying on this since y'all's last meeting, and they've asked to have the 8200.2 removed, which is dwelling units with mixed uses. So what that is, it's businesses with apartments above. They just do not want apartments there. It's surrounded on 3 sides. With it being a 5-acre tract, I also wanted to add a TE number 4 that says there'd be no exterior amplified sound allowed. So if there was a patio on a restaurant of some sort and they wanted to pipe music out there, the neighbors wouldn't have to hear it. So I want that added. And then on number 5, because a Scooter's Coffee or something like that would have a drive-through, I want to add TE number 5 that says drive-through speakers must be 150 foot from any residential lot. Other than that, I am completely fine with the restaurant uses of all the types of restaurant uses that are shown because I'm doing what the neighbors have asked. And I believe Mr. Kennedy is trying to bring something like that to this area. And it is heavily developed right now and getting even more dense. So with that, I'd like to have any comments from any of you guys about what you think.
And I was just jotting down all those TEs and one occurred to me. So when we introduce something like no exterior amplified sound being permitted to get at speakers, but then we come back and say drive-through speakers have to be, do we need to be more clear on, no exterior amplified sound for entertainment purposes should be permitted?
I was thinking, how do we clean that up? Because the last thing I want is him not to be able to do a drive-through because we excluded the sound and I didn't know how to differentiate.
I'm just thinking out loud.
Right.
I wonder if it would be easier just to say with the exclusion of the.
Oh, excluding drive-through speakers.
Excluding drive-through.
Okay.
Okay, so we would just keep number 4 TE to say excluding a drive-through that must be 150 foot from any residential lot. There will be no other exterior amplified sound allowed. Sound good?
I like the idea of keeping the 150 foot separate.
I think you have 2. You have
Okay.
4 and 5.
Fine,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's just no exterior amplified sound excluding drive-through speakers, and then number 5 is drive-through speakers must be 150 feet from residential uses.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I think that's right.
All right. Anything else?
I want to just, on the height, what is the current standard C3 to R1? Is there any height restriction?
Yes.
I researched and I came up with the 35. That's why I took 2 stories out and just went with the 35. You might tell me if I was wrong, Mrs. Welch.
35 is 2 stories.
It's 1.5. That's what we call the 1.5, isn't it?
30-foot single story right now.
Right, and to be honest with you, like the Scooters Coffees or those type of shops, they're a little taller because they use a lot of what's called cloud storage above.
Yeah, I just, as far as distance maybe, the stuff around the outside maybe all 1 story, stuff in the middle 2 story.
Right.
Something like that. That's what I was kind of thinking of.
Hi, Sarah Welch, Planning Department. Within the C3 district, if you're adjacent to R1, if you're within 35 feet, it's 20 feet tall and 1 story. And then between 35 feet out and 150 feet, that's when you can be 2 stories. And then after that, it's just 6 stories.
So I'm in agreement with that. I think around the perimeter, it needs to be lower. 30 probably wouldn't be bad. 35 is pretty tall for a commercial building.
Okay, but if you're 35 to 150 feet out, you can go to 35, which I'm fine with.
Which I'm fine with that too,
Yeah.
because the distance.
So-
I just didn't want the site to be looking into the backyards.
So on TE number 2, where it says the maximum building height should be 1 story, and I was trying to change it to 35, should we just say per C3 to R1 step down?
Well, I think the way that the PUD is drafted now is just per code.
Okay.
So if you care about what happens 150 feet out, then you could put a cap, no building shall exceed 35 feet.
That's what I was trying to do.
But as long as the applicant is aware that they're limited to 20 feet and 1 story within 35 feet of the boundary where it abuts R1.
Okay. So the TE, that maximum building height shall not exceed 35 foot, would still keep the 20-foot height requirement.
Right, I think the way it would be worded in the PUD would be, building height shall be per code except that no building shall exceed 35 feet, and then we would apply the step down.
Okay, perfect. You good with that?
Yes, sir.
I don't think you'd want to go that tall up against, that close to fences anyway.
Yeah.
So just striking the PE gets rid of it. In the application, it says the PUD shall meet the base zoning.
Right, I'm going to strike TE2 then.
There's a cap of 35 feet.
Yeah, but,
I like the way Sarah said it.
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
Ms. Welch, after 150 feet on a step down, or step up, I should say, can it go higher than 35?
If it's just per code, then yes, it could.
Okay,
But
so
if you want to limit it to no higher than 35 feet, then you would just add a TE that would just say, add to the building height requirements that no building shall exceed 35 feet.
Okay, what she said.
Okay.
Okay, I'm good with that. I can try to read it all again. Does anyone else have any comments? Okay,
Doesn't look like it.
bear with me. T number 1 will change to say, remove the following use unit classifications: 8300.36 automotive cleaning and repairs, 8200.2 dwelling units and mixed uses. We will have TE number 2 that states the maximum building height shall not exceed 35 feet. T number 3 as written. T number 4 shall be no exterior amplified sound allowed, excluding drive-through speakers. And TE number 5, drive-through speakers must be 150 foot from any residential lot. I think we got it.
Except that, I think number 2 needs to say it's per code.
Well, that's in the
With the,
PUD,
with the,
though.
ex- but if you're adopting the TEs, then that changes that. So I think it needs to say per code
Okay, so
with a cap of 35 feet.
TE number 2 will be changed to say, building height shall be per code, except that the maximum building height shall not exceed 35 feet.
Perfect.
Yes, and then just to clarify on TE5, I've heard it said both ways. Should that be from any residential use or lot? The drive-through speakers?
From any residential use or
Or
lot.
lot? I mean, I
Yes.
want to make sure we're clear that you have some preliminary plats over to the east, but it's not technically probably platted.
I would say lot, because
So-
if you have a detention pond, that's
Right.
still residential use, but if the lot sits on the far side of the detention pond, that's buffer space. So I would say residential lot.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Okay, now I do have a question, because you said that you wanted to leave in 8300, or you wanted to remove 8300.36, but in here, in the TE1, that's eating establishments drive-in.
Okay, I wrote it down wrong. I'm sorry. Thanks for catching that. It'd be 8300.14.
Automotive and equipment cleaning, repairs,
Yes,
light
number
equipment.
1 would be remove the following use unit classifications: 8300.14 automotive cleaning and repairs, and 8200.2 dwelling units and mixed uses.
Okay.
I think we're there. With that, I would like to recommend approval to City Council of PUD 2128.
We have a motion from Commissioner to recommend the item to City Council subject to the amended and additional technical evaluations as read in. It's been seconded by Commissioner Powers. Please cast your votes. And that item is recommended unanimously. Good luck.
Thank you.
Item 7.
Item 7 is PUD 2129, application to rezone 6205 South Choctaw Road from AA.
Good afternoon, Caitlin Turner, 525 Northwest 11th Street, here on behalf of the applicant. So this site, this application is a bit unique in that everything that we are seeking with this PUD application is already existing. So as you can see from the map above, we've got 3 tracts that are kind of already parceled out on city and county maps. We've got a 0.8 acre tract, a 1.26 acre tract, and a 5.27 acre tract. So some of these structures have been out here since 1955. We are submitting this to bring everything into conformance with the code. There's an aerial of what is out there now. Staff does recommend approval. There are a couple of TEs, again, just to ensure that everything out there can stay as is. One of which is to specify setbacks for each individual lot. Right now in the master design statement, we have the setback from the PUD boundary just in general. So those setbacks are going to be as follows. For tract A, we have a 25-foot setback on the north, south, and west, and 7 feet on the east. For tract B, we've got 45 feet to the north, 7 feet to the south, 50 feet to the east, and 40 feet to the west. Tract B is going to be that tract that is also abutting South Choctaw Road on the south. Tract C is going to be the larger 5.27 acre parcel there. Those setbacks are going to be 9 feet to the north, 24 feet to the east, 20 feet to the south, and 40 feet to the west. The second TE is to specify the minimum lot width along the access easement. So this is going to be mainly pertaining to tract C, but I'll go ahead and just read all of the access or the lot widths for each of these. So for tract A, we have 145 feet of frontage on South Choctaw Road. Tract B, we have 127 feet of frontage. And then C is going to be 220 feet of frontage, and that's on that access easement that comes through there, also referenced on the boundary survey, which is Exhibit D included with this PUD application. So again, staff recommends approval. We don't have any other TEs or comments or protests from surrounding property owners. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all have.
Thank you. Commissioner Privet, would you like to lead our discussion? I do not have anyone signed up to speak.
Okay, I didn't have a whole lot on this one as it's all existing. I had maybe concerns with the setbacks on some of them. I don't know if we need to say, you know, existing construction can be at this setback and, you know, anything else go back to.
Per base zoning?
Yeah, per zoning.
Not good.
Is that okay, Sarah?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
That's the only thing I really had.
As long as we can keep the existing
Right,
structures
yeah. I
there,
don't-
then
yeah.
for
Turn
any
'em
new
down.
development, we can conform with the base zoning district, absolutely.
All right. Sarah, do I need to add that for, as a TE, or
Yes, I think so.
I think it's already on there as, or requested?
Sarah Welsh, Planning Department. I'm sorry, Commissioner Privet, are you asking that the PUD state that the existing shall stay?
Correct.
Okay.
The existing, were, you know, they're gonna be
Yeah,
over
we
setback.
tend to push back on that because it's really hard. We don't have anything that tells us what, we ask them to tell us what the current setbacks are. So I'm not sure if we're saying the same thing. Are you okay with the setbacks of her designating what they are today, but then saying any new development shall comply?
Right, correct, that's
Okay,
what I was
yeah,
saying.
yes, please, yeah.
Anything new built would be.
I think it
per,
says that.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Okay.
Let me see.
Yeah, and with that, I'll go ahead and move for approval of.
Mike, I wanted to ask a couple things.
oh, sorry.
Just
Sorry,
because
sorry.
the fire department brought something up about fire sprinkler system.
Okay.
And
Yes.
there's nothing in there about that. And just one other thing. It's mentioned in the application multiple times that it's 3 single-family homes, and in one spot, it says one of them is a manufactured home. Is that
That counts as one
correct?
of the three.
So it's not a single-family home, it's a manufactured home?
They've done some work on it to make it like an actual dwelling, so, but yes, that is correct. That counts as one of the.
Which tract is that in?
That is going to be tract, the 0.8 acre tract, tract B, excuse me. So,
The smallest of the lots has a mobile home on it.
All right, I didn't know that.
let me get clarity on that. I will say briefly on the fire comment, I spoke with Mike Wilson today, and that is really gonna get triggered in the event that there is new development out here. Since we've capped it at 3 lots, that's not something that's going to be triggered now, especially because they're all existing. So I did get clarity on that today. I'm not sure if he talked to Sarah about that as well, but I did run that down with fire.
Did you get clarity on your questions? Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that was the one you're talking about, but now I do. Now I remember.
Okay, got some clarity on the manufactured home bit. So tract B, the one that's the southern tract off of South Choctaw Road. So property owner purchased this with that one that was already existing. It may be a double wide with brick enclosing it, but they weren't sure. So that was baked in just in the off chance that that is what existed underneath the brick. But we, again, if you want to stipulate something, or if we need to add something in that says, I know staff doesn't like it, but the existing structures, and then we can delete the allowance for the manufactured homes. I will point out there is a mobile home park across the street, and it is allowed under AA, but if you have.
Under A, 5 acres.
5 acre, yeah. And there's a whole mobile home park there.
Yeah.
Across the street.
Okay, anything else from commissioners?
Is it bothering you?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a mobile home, it actually does bother me, yeah.
Is there something that we could put into the document that would make it less bothersome, like it can't be enlarged or improved or moved or whatever,
Or replaced.
or replaced?
It's a 0.8 acre lot that you're putting into a PUD in this area not served with water, sewer. I mean, there's a lot of things that bother me around it, and again, I would not approve a mobile home, so.
So I'm just asking, is there something that we can,
Can we do the whole,
You can codify it.
existing structures are okay, but in the event of a natural disaster,
Yes.
that they can't, that it must conform to the,
Define natural disaster.
I'm just asking if any of those kind of conditions would help ameliorate your concerns. That's all I'm asking.
I mean, there's ways to do a mobile home on an existing property, medical hardships, other things, and just have this be 2 lots instead of divide it to 3.
That's what we did on that Hope Road case that Charles Allen brought way back. Same kind of situation.
Yeah, the owner's wanting to buy these, split these up, or sell these all as 3 separate lots.
Say it one more time.
3 separate lots, the owner's wanting to sell them, correct?
Correct, yeah, that's kind of what triggered this PUD application,
Yeah.
was closing, and title company required the lot split, which triggered the rezoning since it's currently zoned AA.
That's the problem.
I mean, if you can't definitively say it's a mobile home, if it's just a think it's a mobile home, we just need to, I think, consider it a residential home.
We could include something to the effect that no other because right now we have under section 8.1 that the existing manufactured home may remain on site. No other manufactured homes are permitted within this PUD. If that helps, we could add that as a TE.
Yeah.
I'm a no, so y'all figure it out.
I like that.
I'm good with that one as well. So that's in the PUD, and we don't have to mention that, right? 8.1.
What, can you repeat what you're going to add, Caitlin, one more time?
Yeah, so at the end of that, no other manufactured homes are permitted within this PUD. So that would be TE number 4. TE number 3 being that in the event of a new structure, setback accordance with the base zoning district.
Okay.
And then TE 1 and 2 is read into the record previously.
And I'll say this, I'll go back. If this was raw property with no homes on it, would we allow a 0.8 acre lot on this?
No.
So why are we doing it today?
It's there. I mean, how long has it been there?
I think that one has been there since 1955.
That would be the only reason.
Sarah, you're about to say something?
I was about to make a recommendation on TEs when we're ready, but
Go ahead.
I want to hear the end of that discussion first.
I think we had it.
Okay. For TE1, we were just asking that we wanted it defined what the setbacks of the existing structures were. What if we did something like this? All existing homes shall be allowed to remain subject to Article 15, which is our nonconformities section of the municipal code, and subject to the following setbacks. And that's how Ms. Turner read them. And then all new structures shall meet the base zoning regulations for setbacks. And then, in addition, we can put the restriction, if you want one, on the mobile or manufactured home, that it couldn't be replaced or.
And one more thing, if the mobile home or suspected mobile home was removed or destroyed, it wouldn't be able to meet the code required setback, so it would become an
Couldn't
empty
be built
lot.
anyways.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Then it
Is that
would be
okay?
an empty lot you couldn't do anything with.
Yeah.
Yeah, for that attract.
What?
Build a home.
But, hold on,
We
so
couldn't
what,
meet setbacks, most likely.
But you could sell it to one of the other two.
And
But they
that
should do that today.
big yard.
You think that you couldn't build a real house on it? Because of the setbacks?
Right now, we have a building setback line of 25 feet on the north, south, and
building
west,
looks-
but then it's 7 feet to the east.
And it doesn't have to be 25.
Right. What is the rear yard for RA? Base zoning?
40.
40? I know, I think that.
25?
AA
25.
It is 25?
Do I hear 30?
I mean, it looks like a
Oh, could we
decent
say-
sized structure there already, is it?
So for the base RA district is typically a 40-foot front yard setback, and then it's 25 foot in the rear. And then on the side yards, it's either 25 if you don't have public water or 10 if you do.
So I guess what if the TE stipulated the verbiage that you had read previously, subject to the legally non-conforming, and then in the event of a new structure shall meet base zoning districts, except that tract A can have a rear yard setback of 10 feet or something like that.
I mean, that's easy
That
to
way
write if
they can
everyone
be
agrees.
offset without having to modify anything else, really.
I mean, that's easy to capture in words if everybody agrees.
I think I'm okay with that.
I can live with it. I don't know if Dawn can, but I can. For one little deal, but. All right. Do I need to repeat the TEs? Or we can go with what Sarah has on the record?
I do have them on record, so except for I would like Caitlin to repeat the actual setbacks, if that's okay. I didn't capture all of those. And then, actually, if you could also reread two, that would be helpful. Just to confirm, like, what we are asking for is, typically we measure your lot frontage along your street, and they were proposing an easement. And so I just wanted to be sure, when we change the base zoning district to RA, it triggers a 300-foot lot width along an arterial street and 120 feet along a street, but this isn't a street. So I just want to make sure we're clear that that especially for the western lot that doesn't have any street frontage, that it's acceptable to measure their street frontage along that easement, and then what it should be, what we should be looking for.
Yeah, I can repeat. Do you want me to just give a crack at all four of them? Okay, so tract one, or excuse me, TE1. So tract A is gonna be the 145 feet of frontage on Choctaw. So that one, do you need the access easement widths for that one then? Okay, so 145 feet of frontage on Choctaw. Setback for the north, south, and west is 25 feet. And then to the east is 7 feet.
What?
And then tract B, we have 127 feet of frontage on Choctaw. And that's the 1.26 acre tract. And then we have north setback of 45 feet. To the south is 7 feet. To the east is 50 feet. And to the west is 40 feet. And then tract C, we have 220 feet of frontage on that access easement. So this is gonna be the 5.27 acre tract. These setbacks are going to be 9 feet to the north. To the east, we have 24 feet. To the west, we have 20 feet. And to the south, or excuse me, west, okay, let me start over on there.
Oh.
North is 9, east is 24, south is 20 feet, and west is 40 feet. And then TE3 would be adding to section 8.1 that no other manufactured homes shall be permitted within this PUD. And then TE number 4 would be adding to the setback regulations that in the event of a new structure, setback shall be in accordance with the base zoning district, except that tract A shall be permitted to have a 10-foot rear yard setback.
That's good, all right.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Move to approve PUD 2129 with the as read in technical evaluations. Caitlin.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Privet to recommend the item to City Council subject to the technical evaluations as read in. It's been seconded, has not been seconded. It's been seconded by Commissioner Meek. Please cast your votes. And that item is recommended for approval. Thank you. Item 8.
Item 8 is case SPUD 1812, application to rezone 2654 Shoal Avenue from R1 and HNO to SPUD 1812.
Last time, Caitlin Turner, 525 Northwest 11th Street, on behalf of the applicant. So this this SPUD is for the area outlined above. It's about 2.57 acres. It goes hand in hand with that PUD 1682. It's going to be for the Kraft Tank Corporation. So this SPUD is primarily to continue the existing storage for the tank trailers, again, associated with the use on PUD 1682. Master design statement is, for the most part, mirrored from that PUD as they are kind of together. So this is another example of one that we are bringing into conformance with the code. We are just east of I-35, north of Northeast 23rd Street. All access is going to be through that property to the west off of Shoal Avenue. And as you can see, we've got plenty of landscaping and vegetation buffering this site from the east. We have not received any protest letters or concerns at this point in time. There are 2 TEs, both of which we agree to. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner Harrison, this is your ward, and I do not have anyone signed up to speak.
Were there any concerns from anybody from the commission?
I had one question. Caitlin, you said this is going to be primarily to storage, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Why do you guys need the automotive heavy repair use? Because I've seen that look pretty nasty and it can be pretty intense.
I don't anticipate that any work is actually going to be done within this SPUD. Again, I try to just mirror it as much as possible with that existing PUD, since I think it was potentially inadvertently left out of that one. But I
And
don't
the reason
believe
I
that
ask
is
that,
necessary.
there are some residences that are adjacent to it.
Right.
And then the other question I had is, was there any hours of operation for it?
Since it's just for parking and storage, we don't have any hours of operation baked into this SPUD. But to your point, I don't believe we have any issues with removing those automotive and equipment uses.
Okay, so you're good with removing that, you said?
Are you referring to 8300.15? The heavy
Yes.
repairs, heavy equipment? Yeah, we can remove that.
Okay, that's my
So
main
we can
concern.
add that as T3 to strike
Is it
8300.15.
just, let's just confirm with staff that that's,
Since we have automotive and equipment storage and outdoor sales and display, is there any issue with removing that 8300.15? Is that necessary? It is storage of team trailers. Right, so we're good to, if you don't get a review, I'll just answer. Okay.
I'll just answer, Sarah Welch, Planning Department. So the difference would be, are you going to work on the vehicles versus just store them there? And so if they're not going to work on any vehicles, then they don't need the 8300.15.
So we can strike it.
Or actually,
Do we?
well, no, I'm just thinking about, is there any chance that it would ever be like a wrecking service? That would be the other. You know, when you haul off like like damaged vehicles. If that's not gonna, if they need to do, if they're ever gonna do any of that, then they would need that use unit. But if they're not hauling in damaged vehicles or
No.
working on commercial vehicles, then they probably don't need it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just tanker trucks, and the heavy repairs is to like pull motors and pull
Right.
axles and stuff. And I believe if you baked it in off of the one that's to the west of it, if they were gonna do that,
There,
they would pull it over to
Yeah,
cross the magic
exactly.
line and be able to do it, so,
Yep.
yeah. I understand removing it when we can, and I agree with that, but like I said, I don't think it would hurt them.
okay, are we ready for a motion?
I'd want to ask, just what brought up in the pre-meeting about the easement between the two properties and vacating that easement.
The easement, so it's all going to be owned by the same property owner, so I don't think an easement's going to be necessary. A revocable permit may be necessary, which we'll have to comply with in the event we are required to do that. But since they'll all be owned by the same property owner, there's not an issue from taking access through what is currently the PUD.
Right, I think there might be a note in here somewhere about not being able to park on the
On
easement.
it, right, yeah, that's right. And we're gonna have to comply with those regulations, so we're not seeking to deviate from that.
And then in the architectures, I was wondering if you'd be okay with removing the architectural metal and the cement siding from the 70% and putting it at 30%.
In the event, I mean, I don't believe there are any plans to develop this in the near future, at least. I think it's going to stay as is, but in the event that they were to build like a little structure and we're still complying with setbacks, we still no on the architectural metal for the 70%.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I just would rather see it in the 30% as a,
And the 30%?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll add that as a TE4.
All right, I think we're ready for a motion.
I move that we recommend the City Council SPUD 1812 with the added TE number 4. Is that correct?
We have a motion from Commissioner Harrison to recommend the item to City Council, subject to the TEs and the additional TE4 that was read in by the applicant. That item's been seconded by Commissioner Privet. Please cast your votes.
Thank you.
And that item is recommended for approval. Item 9.
Item 9 is SPUD 1813, application to rezone 1629 Northwest 18th Street from R1 and UC to SPUD 1813.
Morning, Commissioners. Chris Skelton here, 4416 Southwest 128th Court. This is a SPUD at 1629 Northwest 18th Street. It's zoned R1, and it's predominantly surrounded by R1 and R2 and a few spuds. We're requesting a lot split. We've got 2 single-family homes on this lot and 2 separate drives already. The staff has recommended this, and there's 1 TE, and we agree with that. There's been no protest, and it aligns with the comprehensive plan. We're here today requesting approval, and I'll answer any questions you all have.
Thank you. Commissioner Milner, this is Ward 6, and I do not have anyone signed up to speak.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comments. I don't have any direct questions for you. I just want to confirm, as I'm understanding with this application coming forward, the 2 structures that are there are remaining in this lot split. Is that correct? Is that what
They're already
the 2
exist.
structures are remaining?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't have any questions. Commissioners, any questions on this one?
No?
Can I say one thing? Congratulations, sir.
Oh,
This
thanks.
is your first hearing?
Yeah, this is my
Yes,
first time.
yeah.
Is it the deer in the headlights look that I have up here? No. Is that?
No, I'm glad I
you.
got to be your first applicant.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
All right. I think we're ready for a motion.
Okay, I would motion we recommend approval to City Council on this item.
All right. We have a motion from Commissioner Milner to recommend the item to City Council,
And I'm sorry, do I need to mention the TE?
subject to the, subject to the
And you've agreed
technical
to that,
evaluation.
correct? The TE?
Yes,
in there,
subject to the
okay.
TE.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
So again, motion by Commissioner Milner, subject to the technical evaluation, seconded by Commissioner Meek. Please cast your votes. That item is recommended.
Thank you.
Item 10.
Item 10 is SPUD 1792, application to rezone 1802 Northwest 9th Street from R2.
Commissioners, I'm here to present 1792 and answer any questions. We've made a lot of revisions, good ones. I appreciated the feedback on the last round. If there are any questions, I'd be able to address them.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, I do want to extend my appreciation for the efforts made to improve this, and I think it does help the application a lot. Commissioner Milner, this is your ward, and I do not have anyone signed up to speak.
Sorry, can you hear me? Am I on now?
Yes.
Thank you for the revisions. I have had a chance to study this. I do have a question. Do you have any contact with the Metro Park Neighborhood Association? Anybody reach out to you?
Metro Park, yes.
You met with them?
With the person that was in charge of that association, it was only one person that came over.
Okay.
But she was in support of what we were doing. She said she'd like to see some more of this going on right there in the neighborhood.
Okay. I reviewed it. I appreciate the changes, how we've orientated one to face north and one to face east. I don't think I had any other comments on this one in this particular location. I'd like to see a little bit more landscaping on that one side that's facing 9th, that's just kind of brick with, but
Will the landscape be per code?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. Anything else? Because I do have a question for
please
the
go ahead.
applicant.
Yeah.
I know one of the things that we talked about the last time you were here was just kind of the roofs, and these are prefabricated units, and I think you've done a lot to enhance these, make them feel more in character with the neighborhood. One of the things that still kind of sticks out to me, where there's room for improvement, and I wanted to ask, because you were working with your fabricator, is there any opportunity that these roofs can have a soffit, so that that roof structure can actually extend out beyond the face of the building?
I'm uncertain if the fabricator would be able to do that. It's possible that we might be able to do it ourselves afterwards, but that drawing right there doesn't do it justice at all.
Okay.
This is another version of that right there. It just looks cleaner. That one was in very low resolution.
Yeah.
So hopefully this helps.
Yeah, I can see the shadows now.
Well, I mean, to me right now, it looks like you've got about a 6-inch soffit, and I feel like if you look and go, even in this, and I don't know how accurate the building is to the right of the existing building, but I believe the character of the neighborhood is probably that the soffits are more like 2 feet and more traditional. And to me, I think that would be the one thing that I would like to see in all the improvements that you made, was that if it's possible, I know these are prefabricated, but if you could get the roof to extend out beyond the face of the building, a couple feet, so you kind of get a soffit.
Okay, and I
that.
can find out what dimensions it is already, because like you mentioned, just looking at a drawing, it probably doesn't accurately reflect how.
I think it's 6 inches or a foot maybe, but so that's the one thing that I would like to see. But any other comments, questions from commissioners?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, because in this packet for this particular item, there are 2 different renderings. And I know there's another case, but yes, I just want to make sure, is this the rendering that we're talking about? Because there's sidewalks on 9th and on the east. The other one just has
That is the rendering for Northwest 9th, because as you can see, the curve, it comes out into the street some.
Yeah.
So that is an accurate representation of the layout and the
I just want to make sure,
between.
because the other one, we just have the sidewalk on 18th, and
Yes.
there's shrubs, there's landscaping on the side. This one, I know it'll be in conformance, but this one is a little bit different. I just want to make sure we were talking about the right
It is.
rendering.
This one doesn't have the depth that the other lot has.
Okay. Okay.
Now might be a good time to tell Commissioner Milner that we refer to these as pretty pictures.
Yeah, I know.
They're representational, aspirational.
Yeah.
They're not married to it. so.
Understand.
Okay.
It's probably going to take me a few times to get out of the Historic Preservation Commission mode. I apologize. So, but yeah. If you've met with the Neighbor Association, I appreciate that, and they don't have any protest. I don't have any other items or talking points on this one. Commissioners, any questions for the applicant? And you said we didn't have anybody signed up to speak on this one? Okay. Then I would motion a recommendation.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Milner to recommend the item to City Council. Subject to the technical evaluations.
Thank you.
That's been seconded by Commissioner Harrison. Please cast your votes. And that item is recommended for approval.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item 11.
Item 11 is SPUD 1798, application to rezone 2331 Northwest 18th Street from R2.
Again, Abraham Santana, right here to speak on SPUD 1798 and answer any questions.
Okay, since this one is similar, I don't have any additional questions. Do we have,
I do have a couple signed up to speak, yes.
can we go ahead and let them speak? If that's
Absolutely.
okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring up those that signed up.
We'll start with Christian DeLuna.
Good afternoon. My name is Christian DeLuna. I live on 2312 North Cross Avenue. I'm going to read a statement on behalf of the Aurora Neighborhood Association. I'm here on behalf of the Neighborhood Association to express our strong support for the proposed revisions to the rezoning plan for the property at 2331 Northwest 18th. These revisions were developed collaboratively with our leadership team and neighborhood residents, and they directly address the concerns outlined in our previously submitted letter of protests. Our goal throughout the process has been consistent to ensure that any development within Aurora aligns with the historic character of our neighborhood, protects the quality of life for the current and future residents, and supports responsible, sustainable growth. Some key highlights that we wanted to talk about was, let's see here, building height and size are limited to what is allowed under R2 zoning. Lot size, coverage, and density are controlled to allow no more than 3 dwelling units with at least 40% green space and maximum 60% lot coverage. Landscaping requirements to meet city standards and include 1 tree per resident, supporting the neighborhood's green natural character. Taken together, these revisions strike a thoughtful balance between allowing modest additional density and preserving the historic and residential character that defines Aurora. They reflect a commitment to high quality design, responsible development, and long-term neighborhood stability. For these reasons, the Aurora Neighborhood Association respectfully recommends revisions to the proposed rezoning plan. We believe a version of the SPUD in line with these recommendations serve the best interests of the neighborhood, the city, and the future residents of the site. Thank you for your time and considerations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeLuna. Maria Mancuba?
I'm also going to read my statement because I'm a little nervous. But good afternoon, and thank you for allowing me to be here. My name is Maria Mancebo, and I live at 2307 Northwest 18th Street, just 6 houses east of the proposed project in the Aurora neighborhood. I'm speaking in opposition to this proposed rezoning. I second the comments and recommendations made by the ANA. I'm a leadership team member of the ANA, Aurora Neighborhood Association, but I bring my concern as a resident on that same street and block as the one in the proposal. So my concerns lie not with the growth or reinvestment, but with the scale, compatibility, and predictability on a neighborhood block that is currently characterized by mostly modest single-story homes and older homes that are being repaired and reinvested in incrementally by homeowners. I myself moved in just 2 years ago, first-time homeowner, and I was drawn to that neighborhood and that home for those characteristics. The proposed rezoning represents an increase in allowable density that is not consistent with the existing development pattern in this area. When higher density zoning is introduced into established low density neighborhoods, it changes the economic incentives tied to the land itself. Over time, this may increase the likelihood of speculative redevelopment and lot aggregation driven by what zoning allows rather than what is compatible with the surrounding context. Even when no one is forced to sell, this type of upzoning can create displacement pressure by making long-term home ownership and gradual repair less viable than tear down and replacement. Once these entitlements are granted, the resulting development pattern is effectively permanent. This neighborhood's character comes from its modest scale, visible front porches, private yards, unique styles like cottage, Tudor revival, and a variety of already existing multifamily properties. The proposed zoning does not appear to include design or development standards strong enough to ensure the new construction would respect those established patterns. If the commission recommends approval despite these concerns, I just respectfully ask that it include clear enforceable conditions. Examples or things I would like to see could be potentially limits on the density, particularly limited to 3 on the lot. Building height and setbacks that are compatible to the adjacent single and multifamily homes nearby it. Requirements for usable green space and additional landscaping above those R2 standards would be nice, but at least 1 tree per resident. Would like to see a front porch or patio standards that reinforce neighborhood character and sense of community. Privacy fencing and buffering where it abuts up next to existing homes. These protections would help ensure that any new development in this neighborhood is in line with the existing character and support homeowner stability. I respectfully ask the commission to recommend denial or at minimum approval only with these protections in place. I appreciate certainly your time and service and welcome questions if you have them.
I just have one quick question. Am I on? Okay. Did you get to meet with the developer?
Yes, absolutely. So we actually, the first rendition, we had an opportunity to meet with Mr. Abraham Santana. We've communicated via text messages a few times. I sent him this most recent letter to the neighborhood. I think it was on the 8th, but it was, I think it was at the same time that I sent the letter to city planning.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. With the revisions, though, did you have a follow-up meeting with the developer once revisions were made?
We have not since met with the developer.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, since the original meeting.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have for you at the moment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mancebo.
Thank you.
I appreciate both the comments that both of you guys have provided in the neighborhood and the developer. I have studied the letter that you have sent us in support of, in speaking to the neighborhood, what you guys would like to wish out of this. There are some similarities that are already existing in that staff report, so I thought I would just point out, it seems like we're having a little bit of disagreement is, number one, in how many units. There's 4. You guys are wishing to see 3. I think we can agree the architecture is a little bit different in this proposal than what we see in Aurora. We normally see, yep.
Can I show you the letter that, I appreciate their feedback so much, and
If you come up to the mic, I'm so sorry.
yeah, I really appreciate the feedback that they provided me, and I drove around the neighborhood. I got letters of support from the neighbors that actually liked our renderings. They said that this is something that they can get behind. Their pictures that they photographed of the neighborhood are very consistent with the materials that we're using right here and the look itself. And in addition to the pictures that they provided, thank you, I drove around and I got pictures of the neighborhood as well, and there's a lot of them that I can show you that look very close and in adjacent neighborhoods as well, not only where we're going to be building if we get approval, but in adjacent neighborhoods that are also historic.
Well, I think I'd really just, I mean, we're just looking at Aurora. I mean, to go outside of there, I mean, we could begin to find examples all over, but I think we just need to stick within, you know,
This
Aurora.
is all Aurora, and it's about 7 of them that have flat roofs and very similar architectural materials.
Sure. I think I'm just trying to find a way, a path that there can be some agreement here, because I know these are kind of already, you can't really change the design of these, if I'm correct. And I also just wanted to point out there was the driveway width. I think you guys are wishing they were just, you know, 10-foot driveways off of either 18th or Cross. You're proposing 22-foot driveway off of Cross into a 4-spot parking lot. So we've just got a little bit of disconnect there. I do want to ask, what is the maximum height at the peak of one of these units?
These are probably around 22 or 25 maybe.
Okay.
It's
And in
nowhere
R2,
near the 35.
R2, the max height allowed is 35, correct?
Yes.
So for the neighborhood, this is going to be well under the 35-foot height. And I did notice on the renderings, again, I don't know if these are the renderings for what you've come up with. You've added some landscaping in there. Fellow commissioners, I welcome any input on this one, your thoughts.
The one thing I would say, I'm not a construction person. I don't know what things cost to do, so I'm not good with that help. But in the past, we have not favored development, even on a single lot, that incorporates something that looks like a parking lot. Even if this were between these two homes, that would lessen that a little bit, but not much. I would rather give up the space for a second driveway that was limited to 12 feet and have, you know, parking spaces, 2 spaces per each that were divided. I think it's just not a look that blends well into a neighborhood to have, you know, parking pads.
So for example, would you have, you know, one drive come in off Cross, one off 18th? I just kind of want to have what the continuity would be on that.
If it's that way, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Even just moving it so that there's parking on the, whichever side it would be, of the building, of both buildings, so that there would be, parking, building, parking, building.
Yeah.
Even that would be better than to have the 4 units. And frankly, I mean, as a home owner, I would prefer to have my parking closer to me than
Sure.
to walk to a pad, so.
Sure. For the applicant, do you think this is something that could be?
With a little bit more flexibility with setbacks, we're going to have that freedom to be able to put driveways in those locations right there. As of now, we are within about the 60/40 of green space.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's going to be anything that's going to be moved with that ratio right there, but I'm happy to move things around if this present plan isn't something that we can all get behind.
I mean, I would agree. I mean, I drove up and down every block over the weekend. Commissioner Powers, I really appreciate that comment. There are no parking pads. There's a couple corner commercial that have some on-street parking, but not a pad poured into the lot. I think that might soften and help it fit a little bit more in character in the neighborhood. I would be in favor if that could be redesigned and come back.
Right.
And if so, I'd like to encourage you strongly to meet with the neighborhood leadership team on that revision and kind of get their input before it came back to us.
Oh, yeah, no, I'd love to. I mean, like Maria mentioned, we did have some text messages going forward, and the most recent one was the one that I sent to her in response to her wanting to see what our designs were, and it was a simple question as far as why didn't she approach me when she had questions like this the very first time?
Well,
and she didn't respond.
Sure. Well, that would be, I mean, if we could get it redesigned, I think that would help. To what Commissioner Powers said, it would be a little bit more in keeping with what we see in the neighborhood. And in that case, this would kind of go, I believe, into a continuance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would ask.
Yeah, I agree. And one more thing is, like Chairman Claire said, if you could look at what the pre-manufactured people can do for the soffit overhangs, because the more soffit, even if it's 18 inches, it'll really help the character.
So 18 inches is good enough?
Yeah, minimum, yeah.
Okay.
Just something where you can come back and bake into this statement or with the TE that it will have soffit overhangs of blank. I mean, you got to be able to know if it's even possible.
Yep.
Okay.
Commissioner Meek, thank you for that good input. So as far as continuance, I think 2 weeks would be a little tight to get it, renderings redone and meet with the neighborhood. So maybe 4 weeks that it could.
I have the homeowner. We're under contract with her right here. She has cancer, and it's going to be up to her whether we're going to stay in contract.
Okay.
I'm the developer. I'm paying her more than a slumlord would give her for her property that's falling apart already. It's going to be up to her whether she's going to be able to extend with me or not.
Could you do it? Could you do what we're talking about in 2 weeks? We're just trying to give you the time that you need. But if you have a sense of urgency and you want to come back in 2 weeks.
Catherine, did you sign up to speak? Can she speak?
Yeah, she can speak.
Okay, she's the property owner.
When we're done, you can just fill out one of the forms, but we just have your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Catherine Corley. I'm the owner of 2331 Northwest 18th, and I've lived there nearly 30 years.
Okay. Did you have something that you wanted us to know?
I believe this will be a great improvement to the neighborhood. It'll raise the property values of everybody's property. There's on 19th and across, there is a running, jogging area where these tenants can go and jog or ride their bike. I just believe it's going to be a great improvement to the neighborhood.
Okay.
Ma'am, I believe the question is, are you okay coming back in 4 weeks and giving him a chance, or
Yes.
we asked
yes.
for 4 first, so he could have time to have a drawing revised and a meeting with the neighbors?
Yes, sir, if I'm able.
Okay.
Okay. So is that, I just want to be clear, are 2 weeks or 4 weeks?
Pardon me?
4.
4.
Is 4 weeks okay?
Yes.
Okay.
We think that'll give you the time needed.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so look at me kind of doing that just like I know what I'm doing over here. It'll be my first continuance, so how do I need to word that for you?
We just you would need a motion, and you would defer it to, we need to mention the date, that'd be the March 12th Planning Commission meeting.
Okay, I motion we continue this to the March, what was the date, March 4th?
12th.
March 12th Planning Commission?
Okay.
Oh, excuse me, deferred, I'm sorry.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Milner to defer the item to the March 12th meeting. It's been seconded by Commissioner Privet. Please cast your votes. Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Powers? Oh, Meek. There we go. We got it. All right, that motion, that item's deferred. Thank you. I was ready to go down the line one by one. Item 12.
Item 12 is case SPUD 1755, application to rezone 1321 North Meridian Avenue from SPUD 108 R4 and UC to SPUD 1755.
Rob Elliott, 900 Northwest 6th Street for Rizviz Properties. Rizviz bought this property on Meridian some time ago. As your notes probably say, we've been here before for rezoning. We have reached agreement with the neighbors and the West End group, and we hope to develop this property as not only flower shop, which is current zoning required. There are some TEs, I believe.
Yeah, there are 3.
And we agree to all of them.
You agree to all of them?
Yes.
Okay.
And Mrs. Jones with the West End Group is here today also. If you have any questions for me or her, we'd be glad to say what we know.
Okay. Commissioner Meek, this is your ward, and I have one signed up to speak.
Okay. Before we hear from them, I do want to let you guys all know, we've heard this multiple times. We had 5 deferrals. I've had 2 meetings with neighbors, and including the church, that's very next door church, pastor, the director of the Baptist Union that's involved with it, Mrs. Jones from West 10, and I appreciate Mr. Elliott. We also asked, like the last case, we asked for a revised site plan, showed, ADA parking, customer parking, just more better layout so that we could understand things. In the meetings that we had with the neighbors in West 10, we chopped down the use groups to where everyone, I believe at this point, is happy. I did, because I'm not a professional at this, but I do know that today I did some research on what a type 2 restaurant is and how close eating establishments, sit-down alcohol can be to a church, and as long as food's the main sale, then it's not a problem. So that means there won't be a bar allowed to be in that facility. We do have that sales, display, storage, and/or processing of marijuana products, including accessories and services, shall be prohibited. So that was a big win, I believe, there. And with that said, I'd like to hear from whoever signed up to speak.
Okay. Ms. Robin Jones?
Robin
Robin Jones, 1508 North Markwell Place. I was just here if they were going to try something sneaky. I agree with what they've said. Well, you got to be careful these days, so.
All right.
So I don't have any questions, unless Commissioner, I'm missing something.
No, I appreciate your help. Mrs. Jones
Stay on
cares
top of 'em.
deeply for this area, and she's very involved, and I always know that I got her in my back pocket if I need her on stuff like this. I appreciate you.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. With that being said, any commissioners have any comments regarding this case?
Anything on commissioners?
All right. With that, I'd like to recommend approval of City Council SPUD 1755 with the TEs as written.
I have a motion from Commissioner Meek to recommend the item to City Council subject to the technical evaluations. That's been seconded by Commissioner Milner. Please cast your votes. And that item is recommended for approval.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 13.
Item 13 is SPUD 1809, application to rezone 1701 Northwest 31st Street from R1.
Rob Elliott, 900 Northwest 9th Street. This is a proposed development that our client would like to develop some residential apartments, 8 apartments at this site. We have not had any neighborhood meetings. I understand that there are some, I don't know of any protests, but there are some TEs that I'd like to be able to discuss with you. Now, TE number 2 being the restriction of only 4 dwelling units. It's our client's vision that there would be 8 dwelling units on this property. On the setback, TE number 3, I understand that the staff would like this setback to be 25 feet at the south property line. Because the site is small, we'd like to be able to consider maybe 15 feet, add 10 feet to the we proposed a 5-foot setback there, but we, I think, could agree to a 15-foot setback in lieu of the 25. All of the other TVs are acceptable.
Okay. This is Ms. Powers Ward. Would you like to lead the discussion?
Is there anybody signed up to speak?
I do not have anyone signed up to speak on this item.
Well, hello.
Hi.
And the 2 TEs that you point out sort of speak to the issues that I have with this. And I'm sorry that we didn't have a chance to meet before. I know we've continued this once, but this is, seeing it for this meeting was really my first time of looking into this. I always recommend people contact me as early as they can in the process because the fundamental issue that I have with this is that it's too dense. I think the 4 units would be appropriate on a single lot, especially at this location. And this is another example of a site plan that's set up to provide for, sort of that parking pad in the center, which is problematic. The reason for the preservation of the visual setback along 31st is that's something that we just regularly require on these kinds of infill development. And I think that plus the fact that you've got the lot coverage down to just an unsustainable level. I think this proposal's too dense for this lot.
Yes, ma'am. When I heard you mention parking pad a few minutes ago, my tongue got caught in my throat. And it's my bad that we have not met with you and discussed the proposal. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to request a continuance so that we can
Let's do that.
can look at it further with you. And
I should have asked you at the beginning of the meeting, so you wouldn't have had to sit here all day. I'm sorry. But yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything to say? If not, I'll move for a continuance this item. How long do you want to take, Ron?
4 weeks would be great,
Okay,
yeah.
fine with me. Until, so I move continuance this item until the March 12th meeting.
All right. We have a motion from Commissioner Powers to continue the item, defer the item to the March 12th meeting. Been seconded by Commissioner Milner. Please cast your votes. And my system went down, so I need to cast my vote verbally, and I'm a yay. And that item is deferred.
Thank you.
Item 14.
Item 14 is SPUD 1810, application rezone 1723 North Billen Avenue from R2.
Rob Elliott, Northwest 6th Street, 900 Northwest 6th Street. This client would like to develop some dwelling units on property at 17th and Billen. There are 3 TEs. The one that I would like to discuss further would be the setback for the garage of 18 feet. We agreed to TEs 1 and 3. We have not met with any of the neighborhoods at Aurora. I have traded emails with, you just met Maria. She's the neighborhood leader there in the Aurora, and I expect that we've traded information and we'll be meeting with them further in terms of how the property will look and to be actually developed with structures. The site is narrow. The right-of-way on 17th Street at that location is 70 feet wide. So we don't have a very large front yard, if you will. If we can have because I'm understanding that the setback for the driveway the 18-foot setback would be from the property line, not necessarily the right-of-way or the curb line along 17th Street.
That's correct.
Yes. So that, while we would plan on having a car perhaps available to park, we do plan on having 1-car garage for each of the dwellings. And my understanding would be that if we're parking, we need to move our garage back to make that 18-foot distance.
I have something I want to say about this. I have a friend who recently moved out to Ward 3. She lives in a little developed neighborhood, has all these little windy streets. So the streets curve, which makes a big difference, I've decided. But there is not the length of driveway available for people to park in their own driveway without hanging over the sidewalks. And it drives me crazy every time I go out there. And I thought this was something that we had settled and were clear about, and we would never allow that to happen. And so it bothers me even more every time I go out there and see it. I think, as we are talking more and more about infill development, which I think is great, we need to, land on this pretty hard. People are still driving despite our best hopes for the future. And I think, it's just not, this is a great walkable neighborhood that my friend lives in. It has all these wonderful windy streets. It has ponds, it has parks, it has all this stuff. But you're constantly going like this, walking on the sidewalk to go around the back of people's cars because they just, you can't do that here because you're taking your life in your hands to walk in the street. We walk in the street in my neighborhood too, but it's not like this. So, this is something that this is not on you, that we need to get a handle on, especially as we're doing more and more really infill development, but definitely when we're approving plats. We need to know where the sidewalks are going, and there needs to be enough. My own husband drives a giant pickup truck, so the amount of space you need to park a car where you're not hanging over the sidewalk, we've got to take that into consideration. so that everybody knows what the rules are.
Right, yeah, I agree totally with that, and the idea that the easements are always, well, not always, but they can be different, and sometimes like 17th Street's a little bit extra wide, and so the setback of the house, it makes a huge difference with where the sidewalk would be placed and how much ground there is,
Jared,
right?
could you go to the site plan, please, again? Yeah, I will say that, to your point, Commissioner Powers, that the draft of the new code does include that. So it says, you have to have your garage has to be set back. I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it's very similar to kind of what we're talking about here. The difference, to Commissioner Noble's point, on this particular side, because the right-of-way is so wide on 17th Street, normally, the setback line is right at the sidewalk. So, there may be a little bit of room for some wiggle room here because you've got what looks to be about 15 feet between the sidewalk and that setback line that's shown there. So if, just a modest setback from there, if the property line were at the sidewalk, it would be a different story here. So that's the important thing, is what's functional. We don't care about an invisible line per se. That's just kind of our standard setback of 18 feet.
And of course, it is true, especially on the core of Oklahoma City, there are these crazy, just randomly wide easements for the streets. And, who cares? Nobody's going to move where the street is.
Right.
It's there, it's been there forever. It really is all about that sidewalk, and so.
Yeah, and if it would ever be used, there's not going to be rail put down this, so there wasn't need for that, wide of a right-of-way. So 20 feet from the back of curb to the face of the garage would work, and so that alignment.
I don't think so. I think you need to go 20 feet from the sidewalk to the garage.
I meant sidewalk, not back of curb.
Okay.
So, yes, definitely. You got to have 20 feet. So in this application, like a 5-foot front yard setback works because of the length of the right-of-way. And also they would line up with the homes. That's also kind of important, that they line up with the existing homes.
Yeah, and I just want to add, I appreciate you getting contact information for Maria with the Neighborhood Association. I would really like to see you have a sit down with them and kind of go over this. So I'd lean towards a continuance if we could.
Sure.
On this one, just to kind of meet with them and kind of go over. I think that'd be the best, just kind of get their input and
Sure.
we can kind of go from there. So you want to do the same, March 12th?
Sure.
Okay. I move we defer this to the March 12th Planning Commission.
We have a motion from Commissioner Milner to defer the item to the March 12th Planning Commission meeting. It's been seconded by Commissioner Newman. Please cast your votes. And that item is deferred. Thank you. That was the last item on the agenda. So then that takes us to additional items, communications report, planning commission committees. I don't think there are any in the session now. Planning commission members.
Hello. So I want to, two things. There's going to be a code update meeting at Belle Isle Library on March the 10th at 6 p.m. Everybody should come. And I want to welcome our new commissioner. I think he's going to be a wonderful addition to our little unit here, and we're glad to have him.
Thank you. It's a lot to learn. Yeah, check in with me next year. Maybe I'll have a real good understanding. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anything, Mr. Meek?
Yeah, I agree. Welcome, John, and you're doing way better than I did when I started, so I think you got it.
Yeah. Being on the HP might give you a little bit of a leg up. But yeah, welcome.
Yeah, welcome aboard, and you did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just going to have to get adjusted to the renderings. Just, we live by them in HP Commission, so I'll let it go.
Commissioner Harrison?
Just welcome.
Yep, same for me, welcome, and you will learn a lot. There's every single day we learn something new in here.
Yep, glad you're here. Planning Department.
Janice mentioned what I was going to, the March 10th meeting. We sent out invitations to what we call the Policy Committee, so 4 members of the Planning Commission and 4 members of the City Council. You're all invited. If you do, we have to worry about quorum and so on. So if you want to show up, just let us know and we'll get that figured out. But the policy committee is just kind of make sure that we have representation when it comes to getting close to decision time on various things on the code from as much as we can, council, planning commission. So anyway, the meeting itself is, it's open to anyone. The focus is on the core of the city because we're starting with the urban medium. So we're going to essentially have a conversation with the neighborhood residents that show up and ask them their opinions, give them a little taste of the conceptual code, get their opinions on kind of how they see their neighborhoods, what their concerns are, a little bit of feedback on kind of the code itself, but really it's a beginning point, and then after that we will have future meetings where we'll kind of go through it in a little more depth and further develop the code to meet neighborhood needs. So let me know if you have any questions.
I do have one. I believe I'm one of the 4, and I know it was Dawn and Janice, but who was, was it Kamal was the 4th?
Oh, I think it was me.
It was you, okay. I couldn't remember. All right.
Kamal is one of the council members, and
That's
we also
right.
have Ms. Hammond, Mr. Cooper, and let's see, was that 4 or was that 3?
No, it's 3.
I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, Commissioner Stone.
Okay.
Yeah, or Councilman Stone, he's the 4th.
Thanks.
And that may, I would think as we expand, go into the suburbs and the rural areas, that composition might change a little bit after this kind of phase we're in.
All right, very good. Anything from municipal councilor's office? No. All right, any citizens to be heard? I see none. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.